The Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media at instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Yeah. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tangkop, tangkop time. Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
Good morning to our senior high school learners who are watching via FB Live at DepEd Tayo Tanggub and Astral Academy. I am Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
And I am Mildred Bibi Chaida from Tanggub City National High School.
And we are your teacher facilitators today.
Good morning, Mama Hal.
Yes, good morning, ma'am. Today is Tuesday, March 29, 2022, and we will be discussing topics about the subjects Practical Research 1 and, of course, Creative Writing.
Alright, so this morning we will be discussing topics on Practical Research 1. And the learning competencies are follows ethical standards in writing related literature and presents a written review of related literature. So learners, it is very important to study this competency so that the researchers and future researchers will be saved from plagiarism. So learners, please bear with us attentively as we go on to our discussion.
Yes, that's right. So in the previous lessons, you learned the different manners and styles of referencing or giving credit to owners of ideas borrowed within the span of your research. And such referencing acts will make your study reliable, of course, and acceptable in the research community once evaluated by ethics review committee, which sets out, of course, the standards of research. So in each forum or platform where you share and present your study, this part will also give you an idea about the researchers' respondents, the common difficulties of the conduct of the study or the research, and the possible solutions and other ethical issues that might engulf the research process.
Alright, so the ethical standards of research establish the values and expectations of a research so that information generated is written accurately and appropriately in accordance to the highest moral principles of research. So these ethical standards are governed by core values of integrity, confidentiality, anonymity, and privacy through informed consent, voluntary participation of the participants or respondents, the beneficence, justice, and rights to review. So it is important to adhere or to follow ethical principles in order to protect the dignity, the rights, and welfare of research participants. So thus, this lesson introduces you to the ethical standards of research before, during, and after the conduct of study. So the conflicts that might arise while carrying out the research and possible solution to address it.
That's right. So during the course of the conduct of your research, of course, so there are common difficulties that may arise that will greatly affect the result of your research. So as a researcher, it is important that you must be adept through and foresee possible challenges your research might encounter so that it will be resolved sooner. So there are actually some summary of difficulties and challenges and issues you might encounter. So first, you need to avoid this one, an availability of respondents. No matter how good your research is, if you don't have available respondents, this can hinder you from going further with your research. Second, of course, is that non-cooperation or refusal of the respondents to answer questions. There are really some instances when you might be refused. Of course, you just need to, you cannot force them. That's why there is informed consent. So you can just go on with other possible respondents of your research. And you also have failure of respondents to remember data or give honest responses. So this might also affect your research. Delayed or failure in returning questionnaires with responses. Of course, because we are time bounded and making a research, we cannot wait until forever for them. So incomplete documents and records. You also have unscientific data, no local data available, and of course, lacking instruments. Communication problems is also one, and of course, the funding. This is very much important because when we talk about doing a research, there is really money involved, especially in the printing of course, questionnaires.
Okay, so it is very important as a researcher that you have to plan ahead on the possible difficulties that you may encounter in doing your research study. Alright, so there are also scientific misconduct might arise when ethical standards are not followed, such as the following. First is, of course, plagiarism.
Yes.
Okay, so when we say plagiarism, this refers to fraudulent acts that entail claiming another person's ideas, okay, work or publications, or violating intellectual property rights by stealing and dishonesty. So that
Yes.
is why, as a researcher, you have to cite it properly and correctly, and also referred it in the references list so that you will not be plagiarized.
Yes, you just need to remember, dear learners, that you need to give credit where credit is due.
So you need to recognize the writers or the ideas
Exactly,
of
Ma'am
the
Mildred.
writers. So another is fabrication of data. So it involves producing data without an actual experimentation or altering data in recording with the intent to fit them to desired results. So
that's
you mean
right.
as the researcher, so it's a no-no to fabricate data.
Yes.
Okay? Then, falsification of data. So this entails faulty gathering of data due to negligence and carelessness, which will lead to errors in measurement or instrument use. So you falsify of data. So
Yes.
it's a no-no. Then the last one we have non-publication of data. So in contrast with fabrication and falsification, so this involves choosing not to include data because they do not conform to the well-established body of knowledge or unsupportive of the hypothesis. So in review of related literature, it is important that you are going to use those published information or ideas from the writers, meaning to say they qualify to a certain organization.
So
Okay?
I think we are referring to peer-reviewed journals
Yes.
and literature. So to avoid such encounters, the one mentioned those mentioned by Ma'am Mildred a while ago, and to ensure ethical standards are followed, ethics review committees usually require research studies to undergo review proceedings by submission of pertinent documents that will verify the truthfulness of your data, your information, and the paper presented. So the following are some of these. The first one, of course, checklist for adult sponsors, which includes parents' consent and advisors' consent. So especially if we are dealing with minors.
Yes.
Okay, next, student checklist, which tell learners information, consent, and of course, ensure student safety. You also have human participants form, which provides information for description, the recruitment, the protection of privacy, and informed consent processes. And lastly, for scientific researchers, the research institution and qualified scientific form, the human participants form, the vertebrate animals form, potentially hazardous biological agents form, and hazardous chemical activities form. These are for students who will be researching something that is related to science. That
Yes.
there are no animals or plants or nothing was harmed during the process in data gathering.
Okay, so another thing is the research plan. So the research plan discusses in summary the rationale, the hypothesis, the methods, the risk and safety, data analysis, and references or bibliography. And then we have the risk assessment form, so which evaluates the extent of hazards posed by the conduct of research. We have also the research abstract rather, so which is not more than 250 words that clearly and concisely state the purpose, the procedures, data collected, and conclusions of the research. And then, lastly, we have the research logbook, so which start and end with dates, the pictures, documentations, notes during the course of the research that shows detailed and accurate processes.
Alright,
So-
that's right, Ma'am Mildred. So that's the end of our discussion and practical research one. And at this point, it's time for you, our dear learners, to answer your activity. So kindly get your printed learning materials. On page 4, you need to do the activity number 1. So the directions would be continuing your research of interest. Consider yourself As a researcher following the ethical standards of research, construct a letter for your target participants. So, stating your agreement and their rights as your respondents of the study. Write your letter or of informed consent in a separate paper. So, write your answer, of course, in any available sheet or paper. You can have it on your bond paper. So, there would be an example
Yes,
of their
there is an
SLM. So, I think it would be easy for you to do the task. at hand.
Okay, so up next, creative writing subject will be discussed. This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alright, so hi there to all our students. So we would have creative writing. So our learning competency is to identify the various element, techniques, and literary devices in various modes of fiction. So we have been with this is I think the third time. So we'll go right away to your activity. So the directions is, ma'am.
Okay, so for the activity 1, so you are going to identify the various element, techniques, and literary devices in various modes of fiction using the story grid based on the given fiction. So explain and give more details of the various element, techniques, and literary devices in various modes of fiction.
Alright, so what you have on your SLM is actually a story written by Carlos Bulusan. It's My Father Goes to Court. So you will be asked, so this is how the grid would look like. So you would have the plot, the exposition there, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and of course, the resolution or the denouement. So you also need to supply the characters, so the characters list, and also you need to on the next slide you also need to have the protagonist, of course, the characteristics of this protagonist and antagonist, as well as the setting, the point of view, the conflict, and of course the theme. So we are not yet you're not yet done, because after that there is still some other
Okay,
things.
so you also include the mood or the tone.
Yes.
Okay, the symbolism and the motive, the pictures or the figures of speech rather that you can use in the story, and of course your reaction on the fiction.
Alright, so this is an example of a plot, for example. So in identifying the plot, so for instance, this is from the Tale of Xunyang. So your exposition could be the first part, the first event, how the story is introduced. So you just need to pick that out, okay, the exposition. And for example, so once there lived in the province of Shula, no? So in the town of Namwon, so a magistrate of course, and named Yemongyong, and a lonely maiden named Chunyang. So that is the exposition part. So you also need to identify the rising action. So in this given example, the rising action is
Okay, so we have there, once there lived in the province of Jola in the town of, again, okay, so the town of,
not long ago.
okay, so we have,
Okay, not long ago.
okay, so for the rising action, not long ago after the secret marriage, the servant brought Yemong Yong a message saying that his father, newly appointed to the king's cabinet, so was being recalled to the capital.
Okay, that's right. And of course, the climax. So when you talk about the climax, again, this is the highest point of interest. Okay, so your climax would be the new Namwon magistrate arrived and summoned Chunyang to be his wife. So Chunyang refused because she is committed to Yimonyong. So her defiance enraged the magistrate, and he ordered her to be taken into prison and sentenced to death. So that was the climax, the highest
Okay.
point of interest.
And the following action, okay, the Yemong Yong arrived in Namwon and learned of the situation. So he dressed himself as a beggar to enter the palace during a feast given by the new Namwon magistrate. He revealed himself as an amnegosa or unbanished the evil magistrate to a faraway land. So he also saved Choyang from a miserable death.
All right, and of course your resolution. So Yemonyong took the bride to Seoul, and presented her to her parents. So they accepted her as daughter-in-law, and in time Chunyang bore 3 sons and 2 daughters, and they all lived happily ever after. They all lived happily for many years to come. So that's how you will pick out the important parts, of course, in the plot. And of course, all those things, all the figures of speech that we discussed last time, you also need to have that done on your story grid. So that's it, learners. So all you just need to do is to fill out from the given story. Okay, so the story is actually attached on your SLM, so you will be guided, right,
Yes.
as to how to do it. So
Okay, so the learners, you have to make it that way.
yes, exactly. Just fill out the story grid given to you. So
Yes.
stay tuned because we will be right back after a short break. This
This
is
is Astral Academy Cyber School.
The Department of Education, Division of Dangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Dangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media and instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tangkop, tangkop time.
Good morning, constellations of stars.
Especially to our senior high school learners, grade 11, who are with us in our Facebook Live.
Yes, welcome to Astral Academy Cyber School. And of course, we are still live in Dep and Tayo Tanggub. And of course, Astral Academy FB page.
Okay, so I am Teacher Merrily from Makilaw Integrated School.
And still, your teacher are from Loranzutan National High School. And we are your teacher facilitators today.
Okay, so today is March 29, 2022. Ngayon ay ating tatalakayin ang asignatura sa Pilipino, ang pagbasa at pagsusuri ng iba't ibang uri ng teksto tungo sa pananaliksik.
Tama, kaya ngayon mga bata, kunin nyo na ang yung printed self-learning materials para sa week 8 sa asignaturang pagbasa at pagsusuri ng iba't ibang uri ng teksto tungo sa pananaliksik at ang inyong papel, ploma para sa pagtatala ng mga karagdagan at mahalagang impormasyon na maririnig ninyo dito sa amin.
Okay, learners, ang ating learning competency ngayon ay nakakasulat ng mga reaction papel batay sa binasang teksto ayon sa katangian at kabuluhan nito sa pamilya, komunidad, bansa at daigdig.
Tama ka dyan, Teacher Merrily, kasi mahalagang mapag-aralan natin ang pagsulat ng reaksyong papel sa komunidad, bansa at daigdig. Una, dahil maihahayag natin ang ating mga sariling pananaw sa isang isyu.
Tama yun, sir. At malayang pagpapahayag ng mga impormasyon.
At ang pangatlo, pagkakaroon ng bawat tao ng pantay-pantay na karapatan na magsalita ukol sa isang isyu.
Okay, so learners, ang mga tatalakay natin ngayon ay tungkol sa una, yung mga bahagi ng reaction papel. So, yung mga bahagi, sir, dito yung introduction, katawan
Yes.
at conclusion.
Tama.
Mga paraan ng pagsulat ng reaction papel, iba't ibang uri ng reaction papel, at mga gabay sa pagsulat ng reaction papel.
So yun ang ating mga tatalakayin sa araw na ito. Pero bago tayo magsimula, kilalanin muna natin ang mga salita na magagamit natin ngayon sa ating talakayan, Teacher Merrily. So unang salita ay tinatawag natin na reaksyon. So kapag sinabi natin reaksyon, ito ay may damdaming nagpapakita ng pagsang-ayon o pagsalungat. At ang pangalawa namang salita ang ating kikilalanin ay tinatawag natin na opinyon, na pag sinabi natin ito yung tinatawag na sarili nating pagpapahayag.
Okay, so una ng next na salita ng ating kilalanin, ito ay tinatawag na pananaw. So, ibig sabihin, ang salitang pananaw, ito ay paniniwala o pagkaunawa ng perspektibo ng tao sa mga bagay.
At ang pang-apat naman ng salita ay tinatawag natin na damdamin, na ang ibig sabihin ay emosyon, pakiramdam ng isang tao na hindi naggagawa sa pisikal.
Okay, so at panglimang salitang ating kilalanin, ito ay tinatawag na brainstorming. So, ibig sabihin ng brainstorming, ito yung pagbabalitaktak ng mga idea.
Tama. Sa madaling sabi, ang reaksyong papel ay naglalarawan sa mga kasulatan na naglalaman ng reaksyon ng isang individual tungkol sa isang partikular na paksa. Kadalasan ginagawa ito patungkol sa mga pelikula, nakakalabas lamang o kaya mga libro at mga isyong panlipunan.
Okay, so karagdagang kaalaman, so ang reaction papel ay tumutukoy sa paglalahad ng makatarungan, patas o balansing paghuhusga sa mga sitwasyong may kinalaman sa mga tao, bagay, puok at mga pangyayari.
Tama. Kaya mga bata, lagi ninyong tandaan na ang bawat tao ay may kalayaang magpahayag, lalo na sa ating sariling opinyon at reaksyon. Subalit, palaging pag-isipang mabuti ang mga reaksyong isusulat kung ito ba'y nakakatulong sa pagpapabuti ng ating sarili, pamilya, komunidad at maging sa ating bansa at sa ating daigdig.
Okay, so learners, meron tayong tatlong bahagi ng reaction papel. Una, ito ay tinatawag na introduction.
Yes.
Okay, pangalawa, katawan at conclusion. Una nating tatalakayin kung ano nga ba ang introduction sa pagsulat ng reaction papel. So, ang introduction, ito ay pagsasagawa o pagkilala ng paksa. Dito,
Tama.
ilalahad ang mga paksa. So, marami tayong mga paksa, mga issue na dapat kilalanin o tatalakayin. So, ang introduction, ito ang pupukaw sa interes ng mga mambabasa. Marapat na pagbutihin ang pagkakasulat nito upang mahikayat ang mga mambabasa sa magpatuloy sa pagbabasa hanggang sa wakas. Ang huling pangungusap, learners, dapat ay thesis na meron itong pahayag ng pangunahing idea.
Tama ka dyan, Teacher Merrily. So, ang pangalawa naman bahagi ng reaksyong papel ay tinatawag natin na katawan. Kapag sinabi natin katawan, ito'y nagsasaad ng nilalaman ng teksto kung saan pinagsama-sama ang mga kaisipang magkakasing uri at isinasaayos ang mga kaisipan sa isang makatuwirang pagkasunod-sunod.
Okay, so at ang ikatlong bahagi ng reaction papel, ito ay ang conclusion. Sa bahaging ito, learners, ay maibabahagi ang tungkol sa pangkalahatang reaksyon ukol sa paksa.
Tama.
Dito ang pinakabuod o conclusion ng teksto. Depende ang haba nito o haba ng buong teksto. Maituturing na conclusion ang wakas kung nakapaghain ka ng mga katibayan at pangangatwiran sa iyong sulatin.
Tama. So natapos na natin talakayin ang iba't
Mga
ibang bahagi ng mga reaksyong papel. So
Okay.
punta naman tayo sa apat na paraan ng pagsusulat ng tinatawag natin na reaksyong papel. So una, tinatawag itong brainstorming. So ipinapalabas ang iyong sariling idea sa gitna ng layunin. Ang brainstorming ay upang makabuo ng isang kapaligiran o kaaya-aya na malikhaing pag-iisip kung saan maaaring makabuo ng makabago at orihinal na mga idea na kung saan inaasahan na malulutas ang problema sa katanungang nailalahad.
Okay, tama yun, sir. Okay, so pangalawang paraan ng pagsulat ng reaction papel, ito yung pagsulat ng panimulang pahayag.
Tama.
Okay, so pinakamahalagang bahagi ng sanaysay na makasulat ng pahayag na ipapaliwanag sa kabuuan ng reaksyong papel. So, maaaring sumulat ng iba't ibang reaksyon
Tama.
na may pagsasalang-alang sa layunin ng papel.
At ang pangatlong paraan sa pagsulat ng reaksyong papel ay tinatawag nating revisyon. So dito inuorganisa ang iyong pangungusap sa pamamagitan ng pagtitimbang-timbang sa bigat ng pahayag sa reaksyon at naisasagawa ang revisyon ng papel.
Okay, so tama yun, sir. So, ang susunod na pang-apat na paraan ng pagsulat ng reaksyong papel, ito ay pinal na pagsulat. Okay, so dito, inaayos ng higit ang iyong isulat batay sa burador. So, susunod dito ang pag-edit sa mechanic ng pagsulat tulad ng spelling at balarila. So,
Tama.
ibig sabihin ng balarila learners, ito yung grammar.
Tama.
Okay, so matapos itong maisagawa ay isulat ng pinal na reaksyong papel.
So natapos na natin pag-usapan yung bahagi at saka ang pamaraan. So ngayon, at tatalakayin natin yung iba't ibang uri ng reaksyong papel. So una natin tatalakayin, ito yung tinatawag na personal na pananaw.
Yes.
So kapag sinabi natin personal na pananaw, ito ay tumutukoy sa panahunang gagamitin. Ito yung pananaw ng isang tao sa ilang paksa o paksa na kaganapan. Mahalagang malaman ng ating sarili dahil ang personal na pananaw ay nagsisimula sa mga sumusunod na personal na aspeto. Una, interes, kalayaan, damdamin, kakayahan, katalinuhan, panlasa, emosyon, talento, karanasan, otonomiya, at kakayahang malutas ang mga tinatawag nating problema.
Okay, tumpak yun, sir. Okay, so pangalawang uri ng reaksyong papel, ito yung nagbibigay ng kahulugan ukol sa paksa. Dito, ipinapaliwanag dito ang tungkol sa paksa.
At ang pangatlong uri ng reaksyong papel ay tinatawag na pakikilahok o pagsang-ayon. So dito, Teacher Merily, ipinapahayag ang iyong sariling opinyon.
Okay, so sa pakikilahok sa pagsang-ayon, sir, dapat kung merong issue, dapat tayo ay makilahok.
Tama.
Makialam tayo sa isang issue kasi hindi natin alam, baka meron tayong ang magandang idea na makakatulong
Tama.
sa ating komunidad. Okay, so at ang pang-apat na uri ng reaksyong papel ay masusing pagsisiyasat. Dito, nasusuri ang mga pahayag ng datos. Ito yung pag-aaral, nagbibigay linaw, nagpapatunay sa mga pahayag sa mga nakakalap na datos.
Yes, tama ka dyan, Teacher Merily. So punta na tayo sa mga gabay sa pagsulat ng isang reaksyong papel. Una, siguraduhin maayos ang struktura ng panimula na nagtatapos sa thesis na pahayag.
Okay, so pangalawang gabay dito ay magkaroon ng malinaw na panimula.
Tama. Ang pangatlo naman ay isulat ang paksang pangungusap sa bawat talata.
At ang pang-apat is, bawat talata ay naglalaman ng mga katibayan.
At ang panglima, magdagdag ng mga pangungusap sa bawat pangungusap upang makabuo ng komprehensibong konklusyon.
At ang panghuli, ito yung iugnay ang bawat talata sa mga sinundang pahayag. Okay, so yun na, learners, ang ating natalakay ngayon tungkol
Yes.
sa pagsulat ng reaction papel.
Oo.
Punta na tayo sa inyong mga gawain.
Ang paksa nito ay isang isyong ilang taon ng pinagtatalunan, bagamat pinagtibay na ng batas na nakakasakops nito ang Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2012. So ngayon ay mag-isip ka bilang isang komentarista sa periodiko at sumulat ka ng iyong reaksyong papel na binubuo ng 3 talata batay sa mga binasang teksto ayon sa katangian at kabuluhan nito sa iyong pamilya, komunidad, bansa at daigdig. At hindi lang yan mga bata, magbigay ng mga datos o impormasyon na susuporta sa iyong posisyon. Maaari mo rin pabulaanan o purihin ang mga argumentong inilahad ng 2 manunulat. So isulat ang iyong reaksyong papel sa likod ng pahinang ito.
Okay, so learners, meron kayong sa inyong SLA, makikita ninyo ang 5 pahayag o 5 pamagat tungkol sa isang reaction papel. Ito ay nagbibigay reaction. Ito yung mga pamagat, silang lahat ay gagawan o susulat sila ng reaction papel.
Tama ka dyan, Teacher Marilyn.
Okay, so unang pamagat is ang K-12, dagdag aralin, dagdag pasanin. So ang content na sir, mabasa nila sa SLN.
So gagawa nila ng reaksyong papel yan.
Okay, kalidad at realidad. Pangatlo, trabaho pagkatapos. Edukasyon sa iilan. At ang huli ay ituloy ang K-12.
Tama. So, yun lang para sa ating mag-aaral sa grade 11. And of course, isa namang makabuluhang talakayan, grade 11 learners. And of course, our first senior high school attendance marker ay makikita niyo na sa ibabaw ng inyong mga screen. And of course, ang atong kinasingkasing ang pagpasalamat ngadto sa itong executive producer, the RBI master, no less than Sir Gas Sapi. And of course, to the whole production team headed by Sir Alden Antonio, Sir Lee Inayo, and of course to the technical team, Ma'am Leia, and of course Sir Chris Abed. And of course, to our dear learners and sa ilang mga ginikanan nga kanunay gyud ang nagagiya sa ilang mga bata aron sa pagkat-on. And of course, this has been your teacher R from Lorenzo National High School.
Teacher Marie from Aquilao Integrated School.
This is Astral Academy Cyber School.